The unexpected return. The gallery opening. The champagne glasses clinked like tiny bells throughout the gallery. Maya Rodriguez stood near the entrance of her art space, watching the crowd admire the paintings she had carefully curated over the past 6 months. The exhibition, titled Rising from Ashes, featured emerging artists who had overcome personal tragedies. Each piece told a story of survival, of transformation, of refusing to stay broken. Maya had built this gallery from nothing. 5 years ago, she had arrived in Manhattan with a single suitcase, $3,000 in cash, and a determination to disappear. Now, she owned one of the most respected contemporary art galleries in the city. Her reputation for discovering raw talent was legendary. Critics called her the woman with the golden eye. What they didn't know was that she had developed that eye by learning to see beneath surfaces, to recognize the truth that people tried to hide. She wore a simple black dress that evening, elegant but understated. Her dark hair was pulled back in a sleek bun, revealing the face that had changed subtly over 5 years. She was thinner, sharper, more defined. The softness that had once been in her features had been carved away by hardship and replaced with something harder, something unbreakable. "Maya, darling, this is absolutely brilliant." A woman in a silver gown approached, air-kissing both of Maya's cheeks. "You've outdone yourself. The piece by that Brazilian artist is simply haunting." "Thank you, Catherine. I'm glad you appreciate it." Maya smiled, but her eyes constantly scanned the room. It was a habit she had developed, always watching, always alert for danger. That was when she saw him. Adrian Pierce stood near the back of the gallery, partially hidden by a marble column. He wore a charcoal suit that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. His dark hair was styled perfectly, his jaw sharp enough to cut glass. He looked older than she remembered, fine lines around his eyes that hadn't been there before. But those eyes, those piercing blue eyes that had once looked at her with love and later with something much darker, were exactly the same. Maya's heart stopped. Then it started again, pounding so hard she thought everyone in the room must be able to hear it. 5 years. 5 years of hiding, of building a new life, of telling herself she was safe. And now he was here, in her gallery, staring at her like a predator who had finally found his prey. Their eyes met across the crowded room. Maya forced herself not to look away, not to show fear. She had learned that lesson the hard way. Show fear, and they know they have power over you. Adrian started walking toward her. Each step was measured, confident. He moved through the crowd like Moses parting the Red Sea, people instinctively stepping aside without even realizing why. Maya's assistant, Jennifer, appeared at her elbow. "Are you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost." "I'm fine," Maya said, her voice steady despite the storm raging inside her. "I need you to handle things for a moment. There's someone I need to speak with." She didn't wait for Adrian to reach her. Instead, she turned and walked toward her private office at the back of the gallery. She knew he would follow. Men like Adrian always did. The past unveiled. Her office was small but beautifully decorated, with warm lighting and comfortable furniture. Maya closed the door behind them and turned to face the man who had once been her husband. "Hello, Adrian." "Maya." His voice was exactly as she remembered it, deep and commanding. "You're looking well. What are you doing here?" "I came to see your exhibition. It's quite impressive. You've built something remarkable." "How did you find me?" Adrian smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Did you really think you could hide forever? I've known where you were for the past 2 years. I just chose not to interfere until now." The words hit Maya like a physical blow, but she refused to let him see her reaction. "Then why now?" "Because I want answers, Maya. You disappeared 5 years ago without a word, without a note, without even a goodbye. One day you were there, and the next you were gone. Do you have any idea what that did to me?" Maya laughed, a bitter sound that surprised even her. "What it did to you? That's rich, Adrian. I looked for you everywhere. I hired investigators, I called every hospital, every morgue. I thought you might be dead. Would that have been easier for you? Adrian's jaw tightened. I deserved an explanation. You deserved nothing, Maya said coldly. But I suppose you wouldn't understand that. You never did understand the concept of deserving anything. You just took what you wanted. I loved you. No, Adrian. You owned me. There's a difference. The silence stretched between them, heavy with years of unspoken words and buried pain. Maya remembered their marriage with painful clarity. She had been 23 when they met, fresh out of art school, full of dreams and naivety. Adrian had been 28, already making his first million in tech investments. He had swept her off her feet with expensive dinners, trips to Paris, promises of a life filled with beauty and art. The first year had been magical. Adrian had been attentive, generous, loving. He had supported her dream of opening a gallery. He had introduced her to influential people. He had made her feel special, chosen, beloved. The second year, things had started to change. Small things at first. He wanted to know where she was at all times. He started choosing her clothes, saying he had better taste. He discouraged her from seeing her friends, claiming they were beneath her now. When she pushed back, he would become cold, withholding affection until she apologized for upsetting him. By the third year, Maya had become a ghost in her own life. She lived in Adrian's penthouse like a beautiful doll, perfectly dressed, perfectly behaved, perfectly miserable. His mother, Victoria Pierce, had made things even worse. The woman had taken an instant dislike to Maya, viewing her as an unsuitable match for her son. Victoria had made it her mission to prove that Maya was unworthy, criticizing everything from Maya's background to her manners to her intelligence. But the final straw had come one night in December, 3 months before Maya disappeared. She had been feeling strange for weeks, dizzy and confused, her memory foggy. She thought she was going crazy. One evening, while Adrian was away on business and his mother was visiting, Maya had gone to the kitchen for water. She had overheard Victoria on the phone. Yes, I'm increasing the dosage, Victoria had said. Just a little more each day. The doctor says it will make her appear mentally unstable within a few months. Once we have enough evidence, Adrian can divorce her for cause. No settlement, no complications. She'll be gone, and he can marry someone appropriate. Maya had frozen in the hallway, her blood turning to ice. Victoria had been drugging her. For months, she had been putting something in Maya's food, her drinks, making her sick, making her seem crazy. Maya had left that night. She had packed a single bag while Victoria slept, taken the emergency cash she had hidden years ago, and walked out. She had called a cab from a payphone, gone to a cheap hotel, and started planning her escape. The confrontation. You're different, Adrian said, breaking into her memories. Harder. People change when they survive. Survive what, Maya? Our marriage? I gave you everything. You gave me a cage. Adrian's face darkened. I protected you. I provided for you. I loved you in the only way I knew how. That's the problem, Adrian. The only way you knew how to love was to possess. To control. To shape me into whatever you needed me to be. And what about what you did? You abandoned me. You made me look like a fool. I saved myself. From what? Maya considered telling him about his mother, about the drugs, about the months of gaslighting and manipulation. But what would be the point? Adrian had always chosen his mother over her. He had always believed Victoria's version of events, always dismissed Maya's concerns as oversensitivity or paranoia. It doesn't matter anymore, Maya said. That life is over. I built something new, something that's mine. You need to leave, Adrian. You're not welcome here. I'm not leaving until you give me answers. I don't owe you anything. Adrian stepped closer, and Maya instinctively stepped back. He noticed, and something flickered in his eyes, hurt, maybe, or anger. "Are you afraid of me?" "No," Maya lied. "I'm just done with you." Adrian's gaze traveled around her office, taking in the photographs on her desk, the personal touches that made the space hers. His eyes landed on a framed picture, and he went very still. Maya knew what he was looking at. It was a photograph of her and a little girl, taken at the beach last summer. The girl was 4 years old, with dark curls and bright blue eyes, building a sandcastle while Maya laughed beside her. "Who is she?" Adrian's voice was carefully controlled. "None of your business." "Maya, who is that child?" "I said it's none of your business. You need to leave now." But Adrian wasn't listening. He picked up the photograph, studying it intently. Maya saw the moment recognition dawned in his eyes. She saw him notice the shape of the girl's face, the color of her eyes, the way she smiled. "How old is she?" "Get out." "Maya, how old is she?" "Get out." Maya's voice rose, sharp and commanding. "You have no right to be here. No right to ask me questions. No right to anything in my life." Adrian set down the photograph carefully. When he looked at her again, his expression was unreadable. "We're not done," he said quietly. "Yes, we are. I'll find out the truth, Maya. One way or another." He walked. He walked to the door, then paused with his hand on the handle. "I always wondered why you left. Now I'm starting to understand. You were pregnant." Maya said nothing. "You ran away with my child, and you kept her from me for 5 years. You don't know what you're talking about." Adrian turned to face her fully. "I know that little girl has my eyes. I know she looks exactly like my sister did at that age. I know that the timeline matches perfectly. Leave, Adrian. This isn't over. It was over 5 years ago. You just didn't know it." Adrian stared at her for a long moment, and Maya met his gaze without flinching. She had learned how to be strong. She had learned how to stand her ground. She was not the same woman who had fled in the night, terrified and broken. "You've changed," Adrian said again. "Yes," Maya agreed. "I have. I became the person I was meant to be before you tried to destroy her." Adrian left without another word. Maya stood in her office, listening to the sounds of the gallery beyond the door, the laughter and conversation and clinking glasses. Her hands were shaking. She pressed them flat against her desk and took deep breaths. The revelation. After the exhibition ended and the last guests had left, Maya locked up the gallery. It was past midnight. The streets of Manhattan were still busy, yellow cabs streaming past, people laughing as they left restaurants and bars. Maya took the subway to Brooklyn. She had learned to love the subway during her first year in New York, the anonymity of it, the way you could disappear among millions of people. She got off at her stop and walked 3 blocks to the brownstone she shared with 2 other women. It was a modest building, nothing like the penthouse she had lived in with Adrian. But it was hers. She had earned every dollar that paid her portion of the rent. She had chosen her roommates, Anna and Sophia, who had become her family over the past 5 years. The lights were still on when she entered. Sophia was sitting on the couch, reading a book, while Anna folded laundry. "How did it go?" Anna asked. "He showed up," Maya said, dropping her purse on the side table. Both women looked up immediately. "Adrian?" Sophia asked. "Yes." "What did he want?" "Answers. Explanations. The usual nonsense about how I hurt him by leaving." "Did he see the photograph?" Maya nodded. "Does he know?" "He suspects. But he doesn't know for certain." Anna stood up, walking over to give Maya a hug. "What are you going to do?" "I don't know yet. But I won't let him take her from me. I'll die before I let that happen." It won't come to that, Sophia said firmly. We won't let it. Maya smiled at her friends, grateful for their support. They had been there when she arrived in New York, pregnant and alone. Anna had given her a place to stay. Sophia had helped her find work. Together, they had built a support system, a chosen family that was stronger than any blood ties. Where is she? Maya asked. Asleep in your room. She was asking for you earlier, but I told her you'd be home soon. Maya walked quietly to her bedroom. It was small, barely large enough for a double bed and a dresser. Her daughter slept in the middle of the bed, curled up with her favorite stuffed rabbit. Lily. Maya's entire world, her reason for surviving, for fighting, for building something better. She sat on the edge of the bed and gently brushed Lily's dark curls away from her face. The little girl stirred but didn't wake. Maya thought about Adrian standing in her office, seeing that photograph, realizing the truth. She had known this day might come. She had prepared for it, emotionally and legally. She had documentation of everything, Victoria's drugging, Adrian's controlling behavior, her reasons for leaving. She had been building a case for 5 years, just in case. But she had hoped it wouldn't be necessary. She had hoped Adrian would never find her, that she and Lily could live in peace, undisturbed by the past. Clearly, that hope had been foolish. There was a soft knock on the door. Anna peeked in. He's outside, she whispered. Maya's heart sank. What? Adrian. He's standing across the street, just watching the building. He's been there for the past 20 minutes. Maya stood up, careful not to disturb Lily. She walked to the window and looked down. Sure enough, Adrian stood beneath a streetlight, his hands in his pockets, his face tilted up toward her window. Even from this distance, she could feel the intensity of his gaze. He had found her home. He knew about Lily. And he wasn't going to let this go. Maya pulled the curtain closed. Call Marcus, she told Anna, referring to the lawyer who had helped her establish her new identity. Tell him we need to meet first thing in the morning. Tell him it's urgent. Okay. What else? Nothing for now. We wait. We prepare. And we protect Lily at all costs. Maya returned to the bed and lay down beside her daughter. Lily stirred and snuggled against her mother, murmuring something in her sleep. I won't let him hurt you, Maya whispered. I promise, baby. I won't let anyone hurt you. Outside, Adrian continued to watch the window, his mind racing with questions and calculations and something he refused to name. Something that felt dangerously close to hope. He had a daughter. After 5 years of emptiness, of wondering why Maya had left, of questioning everything about himself, he finally had an answer. And he had a child he had never known existed. The question was, what was he going to do about it? As the first rays of dawn began to lighten the sky, Adrian finally walked away. But both he and Maya knew this was just the beginning. The battle for their daughter, and perhaps for the truth about their past, was about to begin. Part 2, The Battle Begins. The Legal Threat. Maya sat across from Marcus Chen in his small but efficient law office in downtown Manhattan. Marcus was in his late 40s, with graying hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. He had helped Maya establish her new identity 5 years ago, no questions asked. He was one of the few people who knew the full truth about why she had run. He knows about Lily, Maya said, her hands wrapped around a cup of coffee that had long since gone cold. Marcus leaned back in his chair. You're certain? He saw her photograph. He's not stupid, Marcus. He did the math. Has he made contact since the gallery? Not yet. But he will. You know he will. Marcus nodded slowly. Then we need to be prepared. I'll draft a restraining order, cite harassment and stalking. We can file it today. That won't stop him. It'll just make him angrier. Maybe. But it will create a legal record. If this goes to court, we need documentation of everything. Maya's stomach twisted at the thought of court, of judges and lawyers deciding her daughter's fate. Can he take her from me? Marcus was quiet for a moment, choosing his words carefully. He's the biological father. He has rights, Maya. I won't lie to you about that. But you have 5 years of being Lily's primary caregiver. You have stability, a home, a community. The courts favor maintaining the status quo, especially for young children. But he's Adrian Pierce. He has unlimited resources, the best lawyers money can buy, and a reputation as a successful businessman. If this goes to trial, it will be a fight. Maya closed her eyes. She had known this, of course. She had known from the moment Adrian saw that photograph that her peaceful life was over. There's something else, Marcus said. If he pushes for custody, his lawyers will dig into your past. They'll want to know why you left, why you kept Lily a secret. They'll paint you as unstable, vindictive, a woman who kept a child from her father out of spite. That's not what happened. I know that. But we need to be able to prove it. You've mentioned before that there were reasons you left, things that made you feel unsafe. If we're going to fight this, I need to know everything. Maya took a deep breath. She had never told Marcus the full story, only the bare minimum. Now, sitting in his office with her daughter's future at stake, she realized she had no choice. His mother was drugging me, she said quietly. Marcus sat forward. What? Victoria Pierce. Adrian's mother. She was putting something in my food, my drinks. It started about 6 months before I left. I thought I was losing my mind. I was dizzy, confused, my memory was foggy. I went to doctors, but they couldn't find anything wrong. How did you find out? I overheard her on the phone one night. She was talking to someone, maybe a doctor she had bribed. She said she was increasing the dosage, that I would appear mentally unstable within a few months. She wanted Adrian to divorce me for cause so I wouldn't get any settlement. Marcus's expression had gone very still. Do you have any proof? Not physical evidence, no. I left that night. I didn't think about documenting anything. I just ran. But you must have gotten better after you left? Yes. Within a few weeks, the symptoms stopped. I felt like myself again. Marcus made notes on his legal pad. This is serious, Maya. If what you're saying is true, Victoria Pierce committed multiple felonies. Poisoning, attempted fraud, conspiracy. We could press charges. I don't want to press charges. I just want to be left alone. I understand. But if Adrian pushes this, we may need to use this information to photograph that her peaceful life was over. There's something else, Marcus said. If he pushes for custody, his lawyers will dig into your past. They'll want to know why you left, why you kept Lily a secret. They'll paint you as unstable, vindictive, a woman who kept a child from her father out of spite. That's not what happened. I know that. But we need to be able to prove it. You've mentioned before that there were reasons you left, things that made you feel unsafe. If we're going to fight this, I need to know everything. Maya took a deep breath. She had never told Marcus the full story, only the bare minimum. Now, sitting in his office with her daughter's future at stake, she realized she had no choice. His mother was drugging me, she said quietly. Marcus sat forward. What? Victoria Pierce. Adrian's mother. She was putting something in my food, my drinks. It started about 6 months before I left. I thought I was losing my mind. I was dizzy, confused, my memory was foggy. I went to doctors, but they couldn't find anything wrong. How did you find out? I overheard her on the phone one night. She was talking to someone, maybe a doctor she had bribed. She said she was increasing the dosage, that I would appear mentally unstable within a few months. She wanted Adrian to divorce me for cause so I wouldn't get any settlement. Marcus's expression had gone very still. Do you have any proof? Not physical evidence, no. I left that night. I didn't think about documenting anything. I just ran. But you must have gotten better after you left? Yes. Within a few weeks, the symptoms stopped. I felt like myself again. Marcus made notes on his legal pad. This is serious, Maya. If what you're saying is true, Victoria Pierce committed multiple felonies. Poisoning, attempted fraud, conspiracy. We could press charges. I don't want to press charges. I just want to be left alone. I understand. But if Adrian pushes this, we may need to use this information to protect you. A judge needs to understand why you felt you had to run, why you couldn't tell Adrian about the pregnancy. Maya nodded, feeling sick. She had spent 5 years trying to forget Victoria Pierce, trying to build a life where that woman had no power over her. Now she was being forced to dredge it all up again. Her phone buzzed. She looked at the screen and her heart stopped. It was a text from an unknown number. We need to talk about our daughter. Meet me at Central Cafe at 2 p.m. Come alone. Adrian. Maya showed the text to Marcus. Don't go, he said immediately. Anything you say to him can be used against you later. I have to go. If I don't, he'll just show up at my home or the gallery. At least this way, it's in public. Then I'm coming with you. He said to come alone. I don't care what he said. You need a witness, someone who can document what's said. I'm coming with you, and that's final. Maya wanted to argue, but she knew Marcus was right. She couldn't face Adrian alone. Not when so much was at stake. The investigation. Adrian sat in his office on the 45th floor of Pierce Tower, staring at the file his private investigator had just delivered. The file was thick, full of photographs, financial records, witness statements. Everything about Maya's life for the past 5 years. He had spent the night after the gallery opening walking the streets of Manhattan, trying to process what he had learned. By dawn, he had made his decision. He needed to know everything. He needed to understand why Maya had left, why she had kept his daughter from him, what her life had been like since she disappeared. So he had called Richard Lawson, the best private investigator in the city, and told him to find out everything about Maya Rodriguez. Now, reading through the file, Adrian felt something he hadn't expected. Guilt. Maya had struggled, really struggled, after leaving him. The first year had been especially hard. She had worked 3 jobs to save enough money to open her gallery. She had lived in a shelter for 2 months while pregnant. She had given birth to their daughter in a public hospital, alone, with no family or support. But she had survived. More than that, she had built something remarkable. Her gallery was successful, respected. She had friends who clearly loved her. She had created a home for their daughter, modest but filled with love. The photographs showed Maya and Lily at the park, at the library, at a small birthday party with other children. In every picture, Lily was smiling, laughing, clearly happy and well cared for. There was nothing in the file that suggested Maya was an unfit mother. Nothing that would give him ammunition in a custody battle. Adrian closed the file and rubbed his temples. He had a pounding headache that had been building since last night. There was a knock on his door. His assistant poked her head in. Your mother is here to see you. Adrian's jaw tightened. He hadn't called his mother yet, hadn't told her about finding Maya or learning about Lily. He had wanted to figure out his next move first. Send her in. Victoria Pierce swept into the office like a queen entering her throne room. She was in her mid-60s but looked a decade younger, thanks to excellent genes and expensive skincare. She wore a designer suit and carried herself with the confidence of a woman who had never been told no. Adrian, darling. I've been calling you all morning. Why haven't you returned my messages? I've been busy, Mother. Victoria sat down in the leather chair across from his desk, crossing her legs elegantly. Too busy for your mother? That doesn't sound like you. Adrian considered not telling her. But she would find out eventually. Victoria had her own network of informants, people who kept her apprised of anything important happening in his life. I found Maya, he said. Victoria's expression didn't change, but Adrian saw her fingers tighten on her purse. I see. Where? She's been living in New York this whole time. She owns an art gallery in Manhattan. How lovely for her. Victoria's voice was cold. I assume you've told her to stay away from you. Actually, I'm planning to see her this afternoon. Why on earth would you do that? Adrian met his mother's eyes. Because she has my daughter. A daughter I knew nothing about until last night. The silence in the office was deafening. Victoria's face had gone pale, then flushed red. That's impossible, she said finally. It's not impossible. I saw her photograph. She's mine, Mother. There's no question. Then she's been hiding your child from you for years. You need to call your lawyers immediately. We'll sue for full custody. That woman is clearly unfit. You don't know that. Of course she's unfit. She kept your child from you. She's probably been poisoning the girl against you, telling her lies about her father. Stop. Adrian held up his hand. Just stop. Victoria leaned forward. Adrian, you need to listen to me. Maya is manipulative and unstable. She always was. This is exactly the kind of thing she would do, keep a child from you just to hurt you. Or maybe she had reasons for leaving. Reasons we don't know about. What reasons could possibly justify keeping a father from his child? Adrian thought about the file on his desk. About Maya working 3 jobs while pregnant. About her giving birth alone. About the years of struggle and sacrifice. If she was trying to hurt him, why hadn't she come after his money? Why hadn't she hired lawyers and demanded child support? Why had she chosen poverty and hardship over asking him for help? It didn't make sense. Unless... Mother, I need to ask you something. Of course, darling. Anything. Why did Maya leave? Victoria's expression was carefully neutral. How should I know? The woman was always unstable. She probably just couldn't handle being married to someone successful. She left in the middle of the night without taking anything except a single suitcase. That's not the behavior of someone who just can't handle things. That's the behavior of someone who's running from something. What are you suggesting? Adrian studied his mother's face. He knew her tells, the slight tightening around her eyes when she was lying, the way her voice got a little too controlled. Did you do something to her? He asked quietly. I have no idea what you're talking about. Mother. Did you do something to make Maya leave? Victoria stood up abruptly. I've heard enough of this. You're being ridiculous. I came here to support you, and you're accusing me of God knows what. When you're ready to be rational, you can call me. She walked toward the door, but Adrian's voice stopped her. If I find out you had anything to do with Maya leaving, if I find out you hurt her or threatened her or did anything to drive her away, I will never forgive you. Victoria turned to look at him, her expression cold. Be very careful, Adrian. Family is everything. Don't let that woman come between us. She's the mother of my child. She's a nobody who trapped you with a pregnancy. Don't be naive. After his mother left, Adrian sat in his office for a long time, thinking. He pulled out his phone and looked at the text he had sent Maya earlier, asking her to meet him. He needed answers. Not the ones his mother was giving him, not the ones in the investigator's file. He needed to hear the truth from Maya herself. Even if that truth destroyed everything he thought he knew about his life. The manipulation game. Maya arrived at Central Cafe with Marcus at 1:55 p.m. The cafe was busy with the lunch crowd, people in business suits grabbing quick meals between meetings. Maya and Marcus found a table near the back with a good view of the entrance. "Remember," Marcus said quietly, "keep your answers brief. Don't volunteer information. And if he asks anything about finances or custody arrangements, tell him to speak to your lawyer." "Which is you?"